everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a review of the premiere episode of Secret Invasion. Now there might be spoilers throughout for this episode, so just beware when going into this overall video, and there could also be spoilers for other Marvel Disney Plus shows, so just beware as well. And you can check out my coverage of those series within the channel, and I'll leave some links within the description. Now, Secret Invasion is overall the 9th television series from Disney Plus surrounding the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It will focus on former director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury, who has recently returned from working with the Skrulls in outer space as part of the Saber program, and he's back on Earth trying to adjust to life once more. He's joined by fellow Agent Maria Hill, and also Talos, who was one of the Skrulls who helped Agent Fury alongside Carol Danvers in the Captain Marvel film from 2019. Now, the main story of Secret Invasion will concentrate around the rebel faction of the Skrulls who have located themselves on planet Earth. They have the protection of radioactive sites within Russia, and under the warehouses they plan to infiltrate the planet, not only for the resources, but hoping to instigate a war between the American and Russian nations. Now, this series is a very loose adaptation of the famous Marvel comic book storyline Secret Invasion, which was created by Brian Michael Bendis, and it ran for 8 issues from April to December 2008. Now, that story involved the Skrulls taking the identity of many of the Avengers as they planned their invasion of planet Earth. Now, of course, the series will see Samuel L. Jackson reprising his long-running role as Nick Fury once more, and we'll also see the return of Ben Mendelsohn as Talos, Colby Smulders as Agent Maria Hill, Martin Freeman will return as Everett K. Ross, John Cheadle will also come back as Rhodey, and we will also see new additions such as Emilia Clarke, Kingsley Ben-Adir and Dermot Mulroney, and also Olivia Colman. And the show overall will consist of 6 episodes, debuting on the Disney Plus on the 21st of June 2023. So if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that I've deemed the Marvel Disney Plus shows as mostly mediocre and very disappointing. But after seeing the trailers for Secret Invasion, I had a bit more hope this time round, and after watching this first episode, we asked the question as to whether it can be the most compelling series yet within Disney Plus. Well, after this premiere, I'd say that it was a decent start. It's very clear that this will be a far more grounded, less expansive take on the source material. We're obviously not going to get multiple Avengers appearing this time round, but in many ways it's somewhat refreshing to deal with far more lower scale hidden threats. The fact that Fury and Talos are far more wounded and less physically capable does raise the stakes a little, and there's a bit more intrigue and interest this time round because we don't know exactly who is playing who due to the Skrulls being able to impersonate different personalities. Now, for those who are far more used to the fantasy and faster pace from the other Disney Plus shows, they may find this a bit muted and a bit slow and underwhelming. And this episode does have a certain lack of action with very much more of a darkly lit aesthetic, and yes, to a degree the pace is quite slow. Now for me, this is very good in the sense that the show will be far more consistent in its tone, much more connected with those 70s-esque espionage spy thrillers. Now I would say that it could have benefited from building up the mystery of the rebel faction a lot more. We basically establish almost in the first 5 to 10 minutes who they are and what they're trying to do. It very much takes away that whole idea of a secret invasion. And I also did question why there wasn't much more of an urgency within the US government. We established early on that the MI6, the British agency, are fully aware of the Skrulls and what's going on, but somehow the US governments seem to be completely oblivious as to their existence. Now as we go on, we're going to see a lot of twists and turns. So I do highly suspect that the MI6 being headed by Sonya Falsworth maybe will be Skrulls working in the background. Now in terms of characters, I guess the most depth that we saw in this episode was from Talos, who was very conflicted, and we learned that his daughter Gia, who's played by Emily Clarke, is part of the rebel faction being led by Gavik. Through a conversation that we had halfway through this episode, we learned that Gavik was also responsible for the death of Talos' wife and also Gia's mother. And I guess as the series progresses, we'll see Gia become far more conflicted in her loyalty to Gavik, and this will likely be the deciding factor in any potential victory that we see over the Skrulls. Now, Samuel L. Jackson was his usual charismatic presence as Nick Fury, obviously this time a bit more aged and a bit more broken, and this can provide a lot more interesting depths to the character if they utilise throughout the 6 episodes. I also hope that Kingsley Ben-Adir as Gravik can finally be a strong, layered villain that all of these Disney ploys have been solely lacking. We do learn that he was part of the Skrull group that Nick Fury was helping find a new home, and very much felt betrayed and abandoned when Nick Fury left them. So hopefully they can draw a good duality between the two lead characters and provide much more compelling material as we go on throughout the series. Now, in terms of the story, I did like the climatic chase where we see the heroes trying to track down and prevent the Skrulls from carrying out a bomb attack on a Unity Day within Moscow. And this is where again we had far more of the urgency and tension as they were searching around a crowded place to identify who exactly the Skrulls were. We then had 2 dramatic moments where we see Gravik at the end managing to detonate the 3 bombs within a city, and amidst all of the carnage we see him impersonate Nick Fury, and then he comes face to face with Mariah Hill, shooting her in the stomach. And we then get that overhead panning shot of Mariah Hill seemingly dying in the process. Now, initially I thought she wasn't dead because she's been a long time mainstay within the MCU. We did see her first appear in the first Avengers movie way back in 2012. And initially I felt this was just to provide a dramatic cliffhanger for the first episode. When doing some research afterwards and looking at her role within the series and other reactions online, it very much seems that this is indeed Mariah Hill actually meeting her end. And if indeed this is so, and I'll say that if, because we will still get plenty of twists and turns, because of course we are dealing with the Skrulls who can impersonate any identity. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Mariah Hill being resurrected in some fashion. But if this is indeed her final appearance, I do think it's a bit of a bad taste, because Colby Smulders, as I mentioned before, has been a long mainstay within the MCU, and whilst yes, she's always had a limited role, I felt that Secret Invasion was going to be her opportunity to get a far more expanded role, and we could dig deeper into the character of Mariah Hill as we progress throughout the story. But to take her away from the story after the first episode just feels of a bit of an insult to the actress, who again had to spend a lot of time promoting the series. So I'll still hold out as to whether Mariah Hill is actually dead, but again, if that is to be the case, I feel Marvel could have treated both the character and the actress a little better, given her commitment to the overall universe. So in terms of the overall episode, as I mentioned before, it was decent. I think there's enough interesting elements to keep me invested as to what will happen in the following episodes, and I'm sure we will see further escalation as the series progresses, and we'll get far more action and event-packed episodes, most likely in the 3rd or 4th episodes as the series progresses on. Now, whether this will provide any further links to the upcoming Marvel's movies, especially as that will involve Carol Danvers, or further down the line for any future projects within Marvel's Phase 5, we will wait and see overall. But overall, I think Secret Invasion is a decent, if not groundbreaking, start to the latest Disney Plus series. So here's my overall thoughts and feelings and review of the first episode of Secret Invasion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any further television series or movies or any other topics within the entertainment genre that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know within the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on those topics within the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.